we thought we'll pick up everyone's moods, in whichever way. You're all doing such a wonderful job. So what if we could tell you, that we can take you on a trip to Vegas right now? Yeah, all right. I know you're all very, very intelligent, but with a different kind of Vegas. We just left it as it's an aha experiential session. So what is this about? So we're going to talk about something very unique called the Vegas now. Some of you may know about it and how it is integral to holistic health. Many of you mentioned that, we can't look at physical well-being in isolation. You have to look at it with mental, emotional health. And is there something that we can do which is easy and simple and yet can connect all the different types of well-beings together? And there is some answers that lies with the Vegas now. And with me today, I have Dr. Spandan, who's by training, she's a dentist. And she has spent over 15 years in doing what we call integrated medicine, which is bringing all forms of therapy together. She is an expert in osteopathy, craniosacral therapy. She's also, she does a lot of these alternative healing. She teaches at universities these techniques and at SSU, and she's absolutely wonderful in how she can take something that can look as sometimes why are we talking about vagus nerve and make it very real. So without putting any more time there, I'm going to first ask a very basic question to Spandan. Okay, Spandan, as you can see, we have a big set of people here who are very senior leaders who've taken precious time. Why should they be listening to something called the vagus nerve? They're all leaders of HR functions. As you can see, they have thousands of employees. How is this knowing the vagus nerve going to benefit them in any way?
Okay, so hi everyone. I just want to start off by saying listening to all that you've been doing for your employees has been very heartening. It's actually a part of what we will be talking about. It was very, very nice. Vagus is a nerve that's one of the longest nerves in the body, and of late it has been a part of neuroscience research because it is known as the nerve which is the highway to health and is also the nerve to empathy, kindness, and performance. So, the more vaguely toned a person is, the better they become at teamwork, listening to each other, performing, and responding to a situation rather than reacting to it. So the corporate sector jumped into the neuroscience part of this research a few years ago, where they saw that the part of our brain that we use for interacting with people around us, it's called the executive brain, and it's in the front of the brain. It's called the neocortex. These are refined emotions of listening and not questioning, offering solutions, being constructive, looking at how you can work together and move forwards as a team, and basically being a person who empathizes with everybody around you. So a lot of times, empathy has been confused with compassion, but empathy is the superheroes behind the stage. They're the ones who make a difference to the people around them without letting them know that they're the ones who are doing it. So Vegas then became very important to have a part of your demeanor in dealing with everything that talks about people, that talks about work, and that talks about performance. So excellence and performance, moment to moment decisions where you need to be very present and to be very aware, and assessing the situation before you pitch or you make a decision. That's basically one of the most important aspects of the vagus nerve. So for leaders, if you see, it comes very naturally to you. But when it comes to the team, being able to deal with everybody according to their strengths and weaving the team to become a stronger force together, then becomes a very vaguely evolved action.
Thank you so much, Spandan. I think it has a direct impact on most competencies, as our HR fraternity here would know it. But before we go there, I think right now there is a top of mind issue people are going through, as we can hear all of them, right? So either there is a rush to get people vaccinated, or there is handling cases that are coming their way, and we know how painful it can be when you hear some of these stories. So either people are going through some pain themselves, or there is some anxiety, there is panic. There are, in Bangalore, we are seeing people panic hoarding hospital beds, panic hoarding oxygen, or panic hoarding medicines. So, is there anything that we can do practically, even as a simple technique? What can we do with the Vegas nerve that can help people right now at least get over some of the anxiety that they are going through?
So there are principally two aspects of the nervous system that have come into picture, and both of these aspects of the nervous system are something we carry with us right through the whole evolutionary curve. So the first is, when faced with a threat, we either try to flee from it or we try to fight it. The other aspect of it is, if the threat is extremely overwhelming, the person goes into a shock or a freeze response. Now, neither of these are very constructive or very helpful in having a person being a part of a team or being productive for the rest of the world, because both of these phases of the nervous system are designed for self-preservation. And vagus basically exits, it's one of those rare nerves that exits from the brain and runs all the way to the gut. And 80% of the fibers take messages back from the gut to the brain. So it literally is the key to the gut feeling. It basically gives a very bodily sensation of what a threat is all about. So it always starts with breathing. So, when our defenses go up, it is very common to start breathing just from the chest. It's called thoracic breathing. The second is, when we rev up to defend ourselves, all the muscles in the body become very tight, because subconsciously you're getting ready for war. Whether you can see the enemy or not, whether the situation is like that or not, simply based on the environmental stimulus that we are getting and all this that we are surrounded with, it is very common for one of the extremes of the nervous system to take over. So classically, whenever there is a charge that the nervous system is not able to resolve, it's called stress. So a person would have stiff muscles, would have shortness of breath, and suddenly our focus goes into, oh my God, how am I going to survive? How am I going to take care of me, myself, and my family? That's what it comes down to. And the function of the vagus is to regulate this, that you don't lose focus, you don't lose vision of where you are and what you're supposed to be doing. So one of the simplest things that can be done to activate the vagus is to breathe. And to breathe using both the abdomen and the chest. So I don't know, are we going to do this now, or do you want to
Would you like to do it, everyone? Can I see a show of
It'll be
thumbs
great to
up if you're
experience it.
interested?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can see a lot of people interested. Can we have one little
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
all of us have the need for it right now,
Yeah,
Dr. Spandan.
I think we all do. Yes. So there are two things that we'll experience. One is, when there is an underlying sensation of fear, there is a sensation of numbness that comes in the body. It's called dissociation. So we'll do two things in this. One, we're going to come back to body consciousness, and we're going to breathe. So if your feet are on the floor, I would suggest you kick off your slippers or shoes and just place your feet completely on the floor. The soles of your feet in touch with the surface. Sit comfortably in your chair and place one palm on your chest, one palm on your stomach. Okay, so we have this big breathing muscle here below that. So one hand goes below on the stomach and one hand comes on the chest. Okay.
Would you like to see everybody's video so that you know that we are doing it correctly?
That actually would be very nice. Yeah, I would do that if I was teaching my students. But
We have your students in this.
Yeah, it'll be nice if we can, bring the gallery view.
okay, so take a long deep breath in and breathe out. And notice which palm rises higher. Is it on the chest or is it on the stomach? So take another deep breath in and breathe out. Now we'll breathe with awareness. So let's start with feeling the floor underneath your feet. Become aware of the floor underneath your feet. Become aware of the surface you're sitting on. So your buttocks on the surface you're sitting on. And imagine you're breathing in through a very long tunnel. Okay, so long, deep, slow breath in. So as you breathe in, fill up your stomach first. So the palm on the stomach rises. Continue to breathe in and consciously breathe into your chest so that the palm on the chest rises. Go as much as you can. And a little more. And very slowly breathe out. So you will notice as you breathe in, the heart tends to beat a little faster. As you breathe out, the heart tends to breathe a little slower. Just be aware of this. We'll do this again. Take another long, deep breath in. Fill up your tummy first. Continue to breathe into your chest. Little more, little more. Just a little more. And very slowly breathe out. We'll do once again. Breathe in. Fill up your stomach. Continue to breathe into your chest. And a little more. And very slowly breathe out. And relax. So, how do you feel in your body? How do you feel in your mind? And how does
Amazing, Dr. Spandan. Anatomically, what does it actually do?
Anatomically, it opens up the diaphragm. So the vagus drops behind the ear through the throat. So it's responsible for voice modulation. You know, the executive brain is designed to modulate the voice. So you are neither raising it very high nor going, you maintain an even tone of voice. You're able to engage. It's responsible for social engagement. Then it goes to the heart. So when you activate the vagus, it slows down the heart. When there is a fear response, there is a quickening of heart rate. From there, it goes to the diaphragm, the breathing muscle, which sits on top of our stress responders called the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys. So when a person goes into a fight flight, it starts pumping more and more cortisol, which is a vicious cycle. So the moment you deepen the movement of the diaphragm, you're telling the adrenal glands settle down. And then it goes to the gut. So ideally, the person starts feeling a little hungry, a little thirsty, and that happens only when you feel safe. So vagus is responsible for making you feel safe. That's what we all are kind of moving towards at the moment.
Amazing. Smitha,
That was
continue.
nice.
I
Yeah.
couldn't resist that question.
Yes, that is nice. I think just jump in. That's great.
There is one more question, if I may.
Yes, Aman bhai, go ahead.
How often do you recommend that we do this during the day?
Any number of times, whenever you feel.
You want to do it all the time, Amana?
I don't know if that would be possible for you to be doing all the time. But what I'll tell you is you will start off consciously wanting to do it 2-3 times. But what you will eventually find is you become habituated to this form of breathing. Every time your brain senses a threat. So every time you come across any news or some sort of a challenge, you will automatically start going into deep breaths. The brain likes safety. And whenever it finds beacons of safety, it just taps into that the moment it feels the body is moving towards a threatening situation.
One more query. What is the reason behind keeping our feet on the floor without chappals or sandals?
So keeping your feet on the floor, again, so like I said, the brain works on the principle of safety. And for the brain, body safety. So whenever you lose consciousness of your physical body, like, have you noticed when you kind of go into this whole trip in the mind where you are overwhelmed or there is something that you don't know how to overcome, the feet become numb, hands become numb, then people start shaking their feet and hands. So for the brain, for it to be able to feel the body is being safe. The moment you do that, automatically your breath deepens. And we are just fortifying it with some more conscious breathing.
Yeah, so the feet is actually grounding the
Yes.
body.
Yes, it is grounding.
Grounding itself is a fantastic technique.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's a
And
part of
the sourcing, we'll see if we have the time, maybe we can do that also. Let's see.
towards the end. Yeah, I think Raghu has mentioned heart rate variability, so he could experience that. One of members here.
Yeah, I have a very stupid question. May I ask?
Yes, go ahead, Arnab. There are
Yeah.
no stupid questions, or only questions. Go
So,
ahead, Arnab. Yes.
with this, COVID, I think, we all are using oximeters all the time, right? Just to check. So this deep breathing technique, does it increase the oxygen level, SpO2 level in the body? Or is it connected, first of all?
No, it actually does.
Okay.
So if you have heard about the prone position, that tends to increase the oxygen levels. Where a person goes into the prone position, it is shown that the oximeter shows an increase in SpO2. That is also because you are consciously shutting down the adrenals, the kidneys which are at the back. You're focusing more on the breathing muscle and the diaphragm. So yes, it does increase oxygen concentration. But for somebody who thinks they have COVID and they are going into this thing, they need to be guided into this breathing. But yes, it helps, definitely.
Wonderful.
Neetal felt
It's
hungry.
body's natural oxygen concentrator, in the times of need.
Yes, well put, Anand. And it just needs water also to keep it going. So Neetal is wondering whether it is weird that she felt hungry, but I think it's connected, right? I think
It's fine. You feel hungry, you feel like burping, you feel like yawning. It's all normal. These are all signs of safety. When you have a tiger running after you, there is no time to go to the loo. There is no time to go to sleep, and there's no time to have food. The moment you feel you are safe, the body just goes into the rest and digest. So that's fine.
so. I want to take
So
this
Dr.
theme of safety. So sorry, Gauri, can I just go ahead and finish my question and then we'll come back? Yeah. I want to take this theme of safety. See, safety you feel on multiple levels, right? There's a physical sense of safety, then there's emotional safety, and then there is a little, you have clarity also in your mind that comes from being safe. So does Vegas affect everything? Does it affect at physical level, mental, emotional? Because I heard a number of people say that well-being is not just one dimension, it is multiple dimensions. So is this like a panacea for multi-dimensional wellness?
Absolutely, because a healthy body and a happy mind are two sides of the same coin. And when you have a healthy body, you have a happy mind, you automatically have contentment in other spheres of your life. Now, the moment this mode switches on, the only thing that you want to do is contribute and make the world a better place. Because there is no question of I, me, myself. You already know that you're taken care of and you're doing fine. So very simple techniques that help the vagus to be activated. In fact, like I said, the executive brain, which is in the front of the head, works most of the time, except when a person is hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And we get all these emotions of hunger, anger, loneliness, and tiredness when we feel left out and cornered. So the whole point of, and that was what was very heartening when I heard everybody sharing what they've been doing, is it was this whole team spirit of taking care of everybody. So automatically we are eliminating the pointers that switch off the executive brain. It's just kind of strengthening the team. And as we become more and more vagally toned, as we switch into this aspect of our nervous system more and more, we move away from being brain-oriented people focused on ambition, and we move towards becoming gut-oriented people. So the chemicals that the brain releases are designed for achieving goals and climbing up the ladder. There is no ethics here. But the chemicals that are released by the gut, which is oxytocin and serotonin, are responsible for teamwork, empathy, moving together. So you start looking at your progress as the progress of the cumulative group. So you automatically go into this whole group thing and belongingness, and basically making an organization very strong.
Wow. I think I have more stuff to ask, and I think I see there are 2 hands raised. But did I interrupt you, Dr. Spandan? You want to complete something?
No.
I know Gauri wanted to ask something, and Raghu has his hand raised as well. So
Raghu.
Gauri, you go first, and then we'll go to Raghu. Or is it okay if I go to Raghu?
Raghu. Let Raghu.
Okay. All right, Raghu, go for it.
Yeah, so, I just wanted to say that when I was finding answers as an HR person to how to really change behaviors, because that's the most important aspect for all of us, right? And then I said, okay, if we learn this art of changing behaviors, you can use that for changing your diet, doing exercise, sleeping well, and all of those things, right? So when I started doing all the research, and because basically I am a science graduate, so I went on looking at scholarly articles and how it is done, I was very, very surprised to come back to one fundamental thing, which is breathing. And how just breathing manages the vagus, and then it manages the entire system. So the switch between reptilian brain to the mammalian brain to the Homo sapiens sapien brain is just managed by breathing. And the another amazing thing that is realized is that if you what doctor is saying is about the breathing patterns, you'll all be surprised that the number of waves in the sea per minute is exactly the number of breaths that a human being should take in a minute. Then he's completely in sync. If you do that, my God, you can handle an escalation that is coming to you from your super boss and not get worried and say, okay, I'm going to respond to this 4 hours later. You can manage eating 1 time in a day, which I do, not eating anything else in the entire day. And I was a person who would say, I can never fast. And all of that can be done if you just, and it's such an ancient thing for us. I'm really thankful to the ancestors because they just found one simple thing, breathing, and that's it, period. That's what I want to say.
Wow.
So Spandan, before we go on to Gauri's question, can we just do one more technique? If it's okay with you, would you all like to have one more technique of the vagus with you?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll come back to you, Gauri. The next question is yours. Yeah. All right.
So a lot of Zoom calls happening. So let's do something for the eyes. And anatomically, the covering of the optic nerve, it's called the dura, connects with the muscles at the back of the neck. So eye strain over a period of time can actually lead to neck stiffness. So let's do one technique for that, and then we can go forward. Okay. So before we do the technique, I just
That's
want
fantastic. Yes, please.
Before we go on to the technique, I would request you to just look around you. So look at the brightness of the lights, the colors. Just see how your vision field is right now at the moment. Also, your field of vision on both the sides. How much can you see? Okay, all right. So now what we're going to do is, one palm, the visual cortex is at the back of the head. The part of the brain that helps you create your visual images is at the back of the head. So one palm goes at the back of the head. Aram se, there's no pressure. We'll be very kind to ourselves. So one palm at the back of the head. The other palm covers the eyes. So you don't have to close your eyes, you simply cover your eyes. And now let's blink. So you blink your eyes very, very fast at a medium pace and very slowly. Again, blink your eyes very, very fast at a medium pace and very slowly. Take a long deep breath in and breathe out of your mouth. Take another deep breath in and breathe out of your mouth. Now just move your palms away and place them along your jaws. Your fingers, just place them along the jaws. Let's make a humming sound. So take a deep breath in. One more, breathe in. and relax. Okay, so open your eyes slowly, look around you, move your neck. How do you feel?
Wow. Completely. All the entire stiffness is gone.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
Eyes are feeling
all
nice and
activity is
bright.
gone.
Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
And the other part is that I thought my house will change, but it's still the same. But the vision has changed.
Very good.
Nice change, yeah.
Yeah.
Superb.
Yeah. Okay, Gauri, I think your question, please, and then we'll check who else has a question.
Yeah, so my question was that I've heard of the vagus nerve in connection to the Kriya which Art of Living teaches, right? And I wanted to understand that what is the connection between the vagus nerve and Kriya, if there is one.
Of what I understand, because a lot of Sudarshan Kriya is something that I'm trying to understand, but based on all the research that has been done, what has been found, one is that it works on the breath. So you're moving the diaphragm up and down because it's rhythmic breathing. We're moving the diaphragm up and down and really opening up the nerve. Second is we are moving from an active part of the nervous system, which is the pranayams, into a restful state of the nervous system. So whenever we do any kind of breathing, it is always followed by meditation for some time. So what we are doing is we are addressing the sympathetic or the fight flight part of the nervous system and the parasympathetic, which is the freeze response. And at the end of it, we are merging them and regulating them and activating the vagus. What that does is it activates a part of the brain called the temporal lobes, which is close to the ears. And these guys are the analytical part of the brain. So whenever you look at a situation or a person, what goes on subconsciously is, when was I last here? Was it pleasant or unpleasant? Should I react or respond? And based on the triggers that come in, if it is a threatening situation, a structure called the amygdala responds and says, go away from here. If it is a pleasant situation, a structure called hippocampus gets activated and says, no, I'm safe, it is good, and I can stay here. Now, because we are doing something that is activating the vagus and a sense of wellness, because of a phenomenon called neuroplasticity, which means that the brain can regenerate itself, but the brain is very economical. So it only regenerates the areas it uses. So because you're doing breathing and you are activating the vagus, you are consciously encouraging the hippocampus to become bigger. So your happy centers in the brain are becoming bigger. And because those are becoming bigger, the trigger zones in the brain, which is the amygdala, is shrinking. So you habitually now become a person who, instead of reacting to a situation, would respond to it and would constructively contribute to it. So you're actually changing the chemistry of the brain towards being more happy, resourceful, and more accountable. You take responsibility. I think.
So while we don't, So while we don't understand that, the science behind it, whatever happens to us when we are doing the Kriya, really leads us to becoming, calmer, more responsive, less reactive, and take on tasks which seem impossible, and but in a very easy way, manner. That's really what.
Thanks, Gauri. I think maybe we have just time for one more question. Maybe.
We need to move.
Yeah. One last question from anyone? All good. So you're all settled? Can we have your cameras on so we can see you smile? Right. So thank you so much, Dr. Spandan. I think it's just a very brief introduction given the time.
Smitha, before we kind of close this section, I just wanted to check with Dr. Spandan that these techniques, does it require some expert supervision to try? The ones which we did today, they looked simple, they gave immense results. Can
Not really.
this
This is
be done
something you
on our own based on what we learned theory, or do you need to guidance before we experiment it?
Not really. So whatever you learned here in this session, the techniques that we did, so this is something you can practice on your own. In fact, this is something you can also teach other people.
All right.
So, yeah. So that's.
So this was the shortest train the trainer I have ever attended.
There's just one thing I wanted to add before we end the session is that the vagus nerve has a bias towards the right side of the brain. So when the baby is developed in the mother, the right side, which is, the emotional, happy, intuitive part develops first. That's why we have this extreme bond of love with our mothers, which is very pure. So vagus has a bias towards the right side, which means if a person receives a nurturing environment, which is encouraging and not threatening, and it activates the right half, the left half automatically catches up. So if a person is in an environment where they feel nurtured, taken care of, and supported, their abilities to plan, execute, and follow will automatically develop. So this is an integral part of this fact is an integral part of the education system in Finland. It's slowly trickling into other countries, but it's very applicable to actually all realms of work. That's all.
So basically, the
And
whole
a sub-question.
Sorry, Anand, go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just summarizing.
Just asking that if anybody wants to find out a bit more about this topic, then what are the reference points one can look at? Because I'm sure you have activated many people's vagus today, so they would be keen.
I suppose I suppose reaching out to maybe the Art of Living team would be. I personally make small snippets of techniques you can do to deal with anxiety. I'm there on social media, but otherwise to do something specific, I think reaching out to the team probably would be the best way.
Anand, Dr. Spandan's session has been in high demand. We have many corporates who have done sessions on how the vagus nerve leads to leadership acumen, etc. So we would be more than happy to support people in having this conversation.
Sounds good, Nidhi. Thank you.
So thank you so much, everyone, and I think Dr. Spandan, I think the secret to employee engagement and also one's own engagement lies somewhere with the vagus, right? And if not Las Vegas, then at least the vagus nerve. So I think it's a good time to practice using it. Thank you so much, and thank you for really being here, teaching us these techniques and answering all these questions. So it's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much. It was very nice meeting you. Thank you so much. Very nice being here.